Carter Edmondson present, Michelle Terry present, and we have Stormy Raspberry absent. I verify we have a quorum of board members present in the boardroom per provisions Texas Open Meetings Act. Mr. Bennett, will you verify we comply with Texas Open Meetings Act provisions inserting the notice of this meeting?
Yes, sir.
Carter, would you mind leading us in invocation?
Yes, sir. Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for those that are involved in this community and this school. And so, Lord, as a board, as we come to represent your people and ultimately represent you, God, we just ask that you would guide us with opportunities as we face issues. And Lord, just lead us in a way that's going to create an atmosphere to give young people an opportunity to be prepared for life. And so, Lord, as we meet tonight and hear things and celebrate things, God, just pray that your guidance would be here, your spirit would watch over us and lead us in a way that we would have success for kids and young people and bless families in this area. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you.
Our character trait was courage. So to simplify it, be brave. We talked about multiple things that they could do. The color run was one that we talked about. If it's something new and you haven't tried it, you've got to be brave and even courage to try something new. So their teachers noticed something in these kiddos, so they were nominated this past month for having that character trait of courage. We'll go ahead and start with Paxton. Go ahead and tell me your name. Nice and loud. Tell me your name.
My name is Paxton Grace Kelly.
Who nominated you?
Miss Nally nominated me.
And for what? I'll go ahead and read what Miss Nallen talked about. She faces challenges with a positive attitude. She's not afraid to share her ideas and asks for help during new things. Good job, Paxton. Okay.
Hi, my name is
Speak up. Speak up.
Miss Nally nominated me for courage.
Okay. Miss Nowlin also says he doesn't give up when things are hard, and he bravely tries new things. Good job, Zeke. Go ahead. Yeah, tell him your name. Ezra. And who nominated you, Ezra? Miss Stevenson. Okay, Miss Stevenson says that he's willing to try new activities, asks for help when needed, and has a positive attitude. Good job, Ezra. Okay. Say Saul. Yep. All right. Okay. Good job, Saul. Saul was nominated by Miss Nallen. He bravely communicates his needs in his own way. He tries new activities and works hard every day. She's very proud of Saul. All right. I want to thank the parents for bringing them and still encouraging them. The other students that were not able to come is our Mesa Dennis, Nash Groves, Braylon Cox, Tegan Ponder, and Isaiah Vasquez. They were also nominated for courage, showing courage.
Good job. Good job, buddy.
Good job. Congratulations.
Well, you're on, man. Thank you.
Good job.
You looked it up. Congratulations, buddy.
Good job.
Good job. Congratulations. Get that talkative like your mom. Good job. Well done.
We're going to go on into next. We're going to go to the Gallagher presentation. They're going to we're right now just kind of looking through a lot of ideas of what we have potential of in the future. And so we're just doing research ahead of time and kind of getting an idea of what our potentials can be.
All right.
Thank you guys for letting us be here. I'm Steve Rister. This is David Hamilton and Austin Toole. Probably seen David and Austin here on campus. So again, we've just started a preliminary master plan just to get some thoughts and ideas, put some darts on the walls and just get some conversations going. This isn't, a situation where we're saying, hey, this is what you should do. It's really just getting some thoughts on paper and really getting your input and insight. So I'll let Dave kind of run through the scenarios and we can talk a little bit more about our process as we go further.
All right, well, thank you guys for today for being here. Let's go ahead and go to the first slide here. Oh, or I can do this. So this is again, master planning. This is nothing that's set in stone. These are just ideas to give people an idea of what could be.
And you're actually controlling this one, and he's gonna follow you.
Okay.
But y'all gonna say the same thing there.
Okay, I'm gonna just let you know, I get confused really easily,
That's already-
so I'm sorry. So this is just your general current facilities that you all know and love that are currently up there. And then this is a possible new property that's sort of outlined here. This is 2 lots, lot 1 and 2. So expansions of taking that ag facility you have, expanding that by about 6,100 square feet, and then multi-purpose facility that will cover a lot of CTE programs, some athletic programs, things of that nature, about 59,000 square feet. So here's the concept, and again, this is just a concept that we could do. I don't know why I'm pointing like you're gonna do it. Now we do it. Again, I told you, I get confused. So renovations and additions, you can see your, so you can see your facilities here up on the upper left hand here. You can see the existing facility, and you can see where the auditorium expansion would be. We put 5,000 square feet, but we always put, why I put 60-something hundred square feet is because you have circulation and walls that come in. And then your multi-purpose facility down here, which would have 2 stories to make sure that it could fit in space. And then the shop addition, new football stadium, and new baseball complex and softball complex. So that would be a concept if you wanted to have renovations and additions. There are other ways to do this. This is a large block, but it could be turned into something else if that was something. So again, this is just a starting of the conversation. Okay. Now our next concept is if you were to do new construction pre-K through 12th grade. You in front of you have programming sheets that will kind of lay out what this is. You have one that's for the additions and renovations we talked about, but then you also have one that's for a brand new build. So you can see these are the different areas and the approximate square footage we'd be looking at, and then net area and then gross area. So net area, again, is the amount of space in these places, where the gross area is with circulation and walls. So usually we add about 25% to cover all of that. So I'm gonna go through some concepts, again, just concepts to get your ideas running so you can kind of see what you could do. I keep pointing at the wrong thing. Okay, first option is new construction in the north original property. So as you can see here, it would be a new K through 12 school over here on the right. You would keep the existing shop, have a shop addition. All this construction would happen on this side of the property. On the north property, it would allow you to build that first before taking any of the existing high school down. There's some buildings that would have to be taken down, but this gives you some room. It also will allow you to have your new baseball complex and a new softball complex with a large amount of parking on the south lot. And I keep pointing at the wrong thing, but it works. Second concept is if you built the brand new building on the south part of the property, and then had all of your athletics up top, and then again, a shop addition at the top. So this is a little bit different concept. It allows you to have all of your athletics in one area, but it does separate the shop from the main school. Next one, this is a 2-school option. This would be if you had your secondary on the north lot and your elementary on the south lot. So this gives you an option. It kind of frees up some space if that's something that would be something you'd want to do. It also allows an easier time for future expansion if need be, because the pieces are separated. And then this is another option on that new property. So this would be a brand new K through 12 build on the other property with all of the athletics on this same property. So this one is a little different, obviously because of the properties, but it does allow use of parking across the street along with parking at the front. It does limit a bit of the amount of parking that you have for athletics. But again, there's some things we could do in regards to remaneuvering. This is just a conversation starter. So I think that's it for concepts. Are there any questions or any things you want to see about any of these before we move on to the next part? Okay. Then I'm going to turn it back over to Steve to talk about process.
Sure. Point right, thanks. Thank you.
They do the same thing from
Sure.
point it anywhere.
That's right. So Greg had come, Decker had come to, or asked us to come talk about our process and provide a few examples, kind of like what you're doing with your site. Click that one. So we work with a lot of rural districts around, obviously around here, Aspermont, Rotan, Baird, Clyde, so Wiley. Sunnyvale ISD is one of the districts for which we've worked since 2006, from about 20 years. They were a K-8 district, moving to a K-12 district. The high school kids fed into Mesquite High School, so they were, I don't know, 500 students at that time. Now they're well over 3,000. So what we did with them specifically is, this is the site that we were on. Up in this, obviously, this orientation, this way's north, we put this together for presentation purposes. But the original district was up this upper right-hand corner. This was the K-12 facility. We had this whole site to work with, but we knew we needed to kind of grow into it. We knew we needed a high school, middle school, obviously elementary school. But our goal was to just build. We didn't want to overbuild. We didn't want to build too many buildings or too much space to where we didn't, accommodate the capacity, but at the same time, accommodate the growth. So what we did was we started with the middle school, which was originally the 9th grade center. And then as grades came on, we just started adding to it. And then eventually we built a new high school, and then we built an elementary school. And our most recent single build is an intermediate school, and then the high school addition. So we basically master planned this whole site. We knew we were gonna sustain growth. We knew we were limited on site, so we wanted to make sure that we could capitalize on all of the land we had available. Currently, we're managing a new indoor practice facility, and these buildings, like this high school, is starting to reach some of its life cycle. It's almost 20 years old. So, some of the HVAC units and some of the fit finishes and those things, it's ready now to kind of be updated. And so we're doing a long-term maintenance program with them as well. So that's, I guess, a takeaway is when we look at a blank slate, is how are we gonna grow into it? What is this district gonna look like 5, 10, 7, 10, 12, however many years from now? And we worked with the architect, obviously, on this, but finding the economy of scale with your buildings from a cost perspective proved to be very important. Forney is another district for which we work. We've actually, Forney ISD is just east of Dallas. We started working with them in 1999. They had roughly 2,000 students back then, and now they've got over, almost 20,000 students. So we've done every building for them, but they experienced, this was back in the, early 2000, 2020, 2019, they started really expanding in terms of growth. So we were, similar situation, we were limited on site because of the growth we were having, the buildings we need to build. So this particular picture, this is the intermediate school, and this is the middle school. The middle portion is a cafeteria, kitchen, athletics, fine arts. It's all shared space that accomplished a couple of things. One was it helped the cost efficiency of it when you build two individual buildings, and this is kind of, as they put the buildings together, that helps with the economy of scale, especially when you're bidding them out and building them in phases. But we were able to if you build two individual buildings, you're gonna have separate food service, separate athletics, separate fine arts, those types of things. So we were able to obviously get economy of scale, but also shrink the site, or shrink the space that the site needed to accommodate those two schools. So this is the entire site. This is one of many sites in the school district. But this is the intermediate school, this is the middle school, and we planned the circulation so that you didn't have a whole lot of interaction. The fifth, sixth graders didn't have a whole lot of interaction with the seventh, eighth graders. That allowed us to kind of tighten this up. But then the other thing that we did was this freed up space to build this Opportunity Central. It's a building there's really no other building like it in the country. It's a mall, it's a district-owned building, but it's got business-owned, it's got business owners, you know, their flower shop and restaurants and all that, students work at it. It's a CTE center as well, an arena, an event venue. So because it's an event venue, we needed the parking. And then we did an aquatic center and an elementary. I'm just showing you this because this was done first, second, it was all part of a master plan. So when you have multiple phases potentially, it's important to kind of work out how we're, and give us flexibility so we're not hamstrung, if you will, to a specific plan. Another one's Baird, just more locally, like I mentioned, we work for Baird. We've been working for them since 2014. I remember talking to Mr. Beller down there. We started doing the facility assessment planning, kind of like we are here. And he said, you know, we need to, at some point, we're gonna need to replace the new gym. I looked at it, it was built in 1972. Well, I was built in 1972 also, and I'm not new. So, but they knew at that time that they weren't gonna be able to build it. You know, they didn't have the bonding capacity, nor did they feel like they had the support. So we renovated the high school, put some, you know, redid the restrooms, put some new windows in there, security vestibule, renovated the locker rooms, that kind of thing. And then a few years ago, we did a welding academy, and then we did, in fact, build a new competition gym. It's being used now, and it's working great. And then we're currently managing their transportation and BOAG facility. So we've been working with them for about 12 years, and while it's not to the scale that we saw with Forney, say example, it still was all part of the plan. We looked at different sites for that gym, and different options, and kind of did exactly what we're doing. But I think probably the biggest takeaway on that is the flexibility. So while we might master plan a site, we also need to be able to allow ourselves flexibility on how we use that space. That one. So our process, and you know, we were fortunate enough to work for you, for the district on this last project, and we obviously couldn't be more grateful for that, but thought for just a review purpose, we'll kind of go through quickly our process and then answer any questions you might have. There's three key components. Well, first off, as a company, we provide three different service lines. One is staff augmentation, which essentially means that we deploy certain resources for a specific job. So a lot of times we do that for cities and healthcare facilities, where people just need a specific person. We got a guy up in Oklahoma that there's a casino that's trying to get across the finish line, and so we've got one single gentleman up there, and his role solely is just to make sure that closeout process gets complete, documents are accurate, and those kinds of things. We do that, you know, on occasion for a school district, but mostly that's for other type of businesses. Program management is another one of our services. That's where we actually help solicit and hire the design firms, the consultants. Will review contracts in terms of fee and schedule, reimbursable expenses, those types of things, and then we'll manage that architect and or other you know, consultants, and of course it allows us to determine which delivery method is going to be most suitable per project. Sometimes it's competitive sealed proposal, sometimes it's design build, just kind of depends. The other service we provide is multi-prime contracting, which is what we've done here, it's what we did in Baird, what we've done in Sunnyvale, Wiley ISD. Most of the school districts for which we work are multi-prime contracting, otherwise known as construction manager agent. So, and then, and that's pretty much where we manage boots on the ground. So we have our own job site superintendents and project management team here on site in the job site trailer, managing the individual trade contractors, contracts, so on. So essentially we start with the planning phase, which is where we are right now. It's what David and Austin have been helping with. The implementation, of course, is the construction phase, and then the closeout obviously is getting that building open and making sure you have the right documentation, the drawings, you have all the right files, and you got the warranty system in place. We're pretty much in the first phase right now, as you guys are. This is where it's just important to have stakeholder involvement, you know, getting folks involved, making sure that everybody's in collaboration with your financial advisor. We've obviously done an assessment, and we'll put together, once we've kind of, if you like one or two of these options, or you like a portion of some of these options, and you want to see some other ideas, we'll start to put budgets together for this, as well as a schedule. And we put budgets together by using historical data. You know, if let's say we're looking at a 50,000 square foot building like David had pointed out, we'll look at, okay, what other 50,000 square foot buildings have we done here in this area? Where have we done them up in Dalhart? You know, we'll just take that, but at the same time, our company has a team of economists that monitors the commodities and just material pricing, the East Coast and West Coast, and so we'll also use that data to kind of develop that budget. But typically, a budget is going to be on a more conservative level because number one, we haven't defined the exact program, but number two, we want to give ourselves flexibility. So, and a lot of times, especially with the multi-phasing, we'll provide some inflationary projections. So in other words, if you do a phase now, and we know in 5 or 10 or 8 years from now, we're gonna do another phase, then like for example, with Forney, that was happened to be a $1.2 billion bond program. They didn't have all of the funding available at one time, obviously. So we worked with their financial advisor on the various scenarios. And you never know when you're actually gonna have that money, as we know, right? It depends on industry. So we developed some cost and budget analysis based off various, you know, a 5-year and an 8-year and a 10-year plan. And we actually, as a collaborative group between us and the district, the design firm and the financial advisor, we landed on a scenario. I believe it was an 8 or 9 year deal. We wound up with the growth and the bonding capacity value increase. We wound up being able to build more buildings inside of 5 years. So we had a 3-year delta in terms of cost escalation, and that allowed us to build a whole new elementary school without impacting the rest of the bond program. So it's, again, if you're gonna do multiple phases, it certainly helps to look at these various projections, especially as it relates to cost, of course. Construction management, you know, we do all of the forecasting, the estimating. As the design progresses, we'll provide value engineering input. We have licensed architects, Austin being one of them, licensed engineers on staff. Really, we're not an architecture firm, but we like to have professionals like Austin on staff so he can provide constructability reviews, just do quick plan reviews, make sure that we can actually build what's being designed. It's also a great way to third party and cross-check, or have a third party cross-check the drawings as well. And then of course we have provide job site supervision, just like we did on your last project. When you have a project, you have a lot of individuals and companies involved. You have engineers, and architects, and surveys, and geotech reports, and material testing, a lot of RFIs and submittals and documentation and meeting minutes and those things. We harness all that by use of a system called Procore. What that allows, and we have specialists on our team that specifically work in that system so that you can disseminate information to your own stakeholders in the community in a methodical way. So you've got access to everything, and that's a license we provide at no cost. So, and then of course warranty and closeout. We've actually, since we've completed this job, we've enhanced our system from a warranty punch list, from a just a documentation standpoint. We've streamlined that actually pretty significantly over the last several years. But that's one of the important keys is when we finish a job, just kind of like with the other districts, as well as hopefully here, is our goal is to have that relationship to continue to be your guy, so to speak. Over the years, I've been in construction all my working career. This company's been around since the late '60s. We found that there's three key areas of success for a project such as what you're looking at. One is the streamlined communication and expectation. It's extremely important that we are all in this together. As your construction manager agent, we serve as your fiduciary. So in other words, we're on your side of the table. The contracts are with the trade. It's between the district and the trade contractors, and we manage those contracts on your behalf. So we essentially take the place of the general contractor, and we separate our fee out so you can see that, and so that you can be involved in every other part of really the building. So you know, as far as pay applications and change orders and dollar bid tabs and all those, you have involvement in all those, so you're able to see every number that flows through here. So as your agent, we essentially serve as an extension of your office. So we're not here to protect our own profits. So at the same time, we want to make sure that we get across the finish line successfully and help address any issues. There's always going to be something that's going to go wrong on a construction project. We're not perfect, and neither is anyone else for that matter. So it's how we deal with that. How are we communicating, and how are you guys kept in the loop on what the resolve is and involved in what the resolve is. So, any questions?
Before we move on, I just want to thank David and Greg and Austin for strategically planning with our team over the last several months. So it's been eye-opening as we've tried to kind of identify what our biggest needs are and try to lay the groundwork for where we're going. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Push on to board progress monitoring.
Oops.
She's over there.
I showed y'all fall benchmark, information back, and we did fall benchmarks in November. So probably December maybe was when I shared that with you. And then we did spring benchmarks, right before spring break, right before we left for spring break. So we use release star tests. So usually we use one from 2 years ago in the fall, and then last year's we use in spring. So it changes because the state is a sliding scale. They don't ever tell us what our goal really is. So we use the previous year's goals is kind of how we look at it. So you can kind of see these, I just compared them basically. So it's a different test, ask some different questions, but TEKs are all still the same, or I'll say that, most of them should be the same, but they may ask more of one TEK than they do of another. So, kind of thing. And that board is not the same as this one, so.
Am I on the right thing?
You're a high school, I guess, that's high school, okay. I was like, why am I looking? Yeah. So, no, this one was right, what you were looking at, just what I was looking at, John.
I got you, I'm sorry.
So basically, you can see where we showed improvement, and I won't read every one of them to you, you have them there, but we still, and sometimes kids hit a point or in the spring, and it was right before spring break, and they didn't want to test well, or didn't test well, and, so some of them slide, but we take all this data and we break it down, and then we go back and we look at the TEKs and look at those specific TEKs and how we did and what we need to do to improve on that. lots of improvement on the writing, really, in the spring versus the fall. And, so every grade did better. I think third grade, I had one class that they did not have their writing scored when I had to submit this. So, but every grade they improved. You know, also we set this, our goal was meets, which is on grade level. And the passing standard technically for STAR is approaches. So we set the bar a little high on who we have passing for us versus who would be passing for the state. So that gives us a little bit of comfort, I guess, in knowing that.
Well, and the goal is meets.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, the state does give you, award you for approaches, but our goal isn't approaches. Our goal is that every student meets grade level. And so that's the reason we set the standard there, and we will continue to do so. Yeah.
And in math, when we took this in March, we still have not covered all the curriculum
Yeah.
in March for math. They are pushing to finish covering curriculum in elementary math before STAR. I mean, it's a lot of information to cover because it has so many, and I showed you on the previous, report how many TEKs are covered in elementary math, and it's a ton. And so, they're still covering that.
And our teachers have worked incredibly hard.
So hard, yes, and we just did, we just wrapped up Friday, we kind of do a 2-week STAR, we call it a boot camp kind of thing. All the teachers work together in the 3rd through 5th, and then they pull in Miss Dowden, and they separate the kids using this data, and everyone attacks a goal, and the kids, they usually respond well to that. And they have
And I
good
love
times.
this because it's student-centered. It's based on the students' needs and what they struggled with, and then grouping them together. And also, they hear it from a different teacher that may teach it a different way or explain it a different way. It just gives a lot of opportunity for our kids to understand.
Yeah, trying to give them some,
And really focuses on their need.
so, and then they ended it with a celebration outside and got to have some popsicles and play outside for a little bit for doing such a good job. And then today we did a superstar walkthrough. So,
And somebody was the dance star today, I think, right? Did they get that on video?
I hope they did not get a video. of that.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
They did.
they probably did. I need some warning.
You're gonna get a letter later.
Probably so. So, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer. 5th grade, again, they do 3 tests, reading, math, and science. And then 8th grade does 4, reading, math, science, and social studies. So, even in the spring, science, social studies, and math, they've not all done all of the curriculum. Reading is pretty much all the same TEKs from the time they start through 12th grade, but it just becomes harder. So they're hearing the same thing. They're hearing point of view. They're hearing characterization, starting in kindergarten. But they just learn more about it as they get older and the questions get tougher.
So on this, where it says, meets on, looking at 8th grade, meets on STAR, yes, we have 12 that, yes, 10, no. But that doesn't, on the no, they would have, on the regular STAR, there's probably several of those that would have been approaches. Since you
Yes.
set meets as the standard.
Which
So-
one are you looking at?
I'm just looking at, 8th grade.
Oh, 8th grade.
Where it says, the passing on the.
Oh, yeah.
And so it says meets, which 12 yes, 10 no, but some of those no's on a regular STAR test would have
Right.
probably been approaches.
Like if
And
you look
so-
underneath it, I've got it broken down into approaches high and approaches low. We break it down even into approaches high and approaches low, but that's approaches.
Okay.
Approaches is approaches. So like that first one, there's 7. There's 7 that I didn't count as passing that would have technically passed for the state.
That would have passed
But
the state.
for us, they didn't. Like we wanted them to work up to meet.
So then they got extra personalized.
Yes, so the teachers started pulling STAR groups before we started the boot camp.
Yeah.
They pull STAR groups during remediation time, and that's how that's why we have them broken into approaches
Yeah.
low, approaches high, and then they will even break it down by TEK. If there's, especially in math, if there's one concept the kids are really struggling with in math, then they'll pull them into that group.
And I'll just add, she's using words like STAR boot camp and all that, but understand, I hear the word thrown around a lot, teaching the test. That's not what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're teaching to the teak.
Yes.
So they're determining what tics do kids know and what tics do they not know.
Yeah.
And then they're reinforcing those tics that they do not know.
Right. So yes, it's broken down there, that approaches, so like on that 10, that was 8, that was a no, but 7 of those no's would have
Yeah,
passed.
so that one.
So,
Because, I
but-
mean, that might be scary looking if somebody was looking at
Right.
that thinking, oh my gosh, this many, but they don't realize it, okay. Well, we want meets, obviously, but
Right.
the state says approaches is passing, and so we would have had more than what that looks like.
Meets just puts them on grade level, and that's the goal, is to have everyone on grade level to move on to the next grade.
Yeah.
You know, already on that grade level. If they're approaching that grade level, and then they're moving to the next grade, not quite on that grade level. So that's the goal, is to be on meets. So.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, next victim.
One behind us. Alright, so for the fall benchmark, this is the English 1 scores right here. The big thing that I wanna point out is, the number of students that took the test. Springtime is a rough time in high school at Roby, Texas. I'll tell you that, right? We're either in athletics or ag or one-night play or UIL. Throwing the bad weather days in there, didn't help out a lot either. So this data is not, I think, a true testament of what we got. If you look, we tested 21 kids, when we did the benchmark there right before, Christmas, and then come around when we benchmarked again, there was only 13 of those 21 here. But as we can see, whenever we took down the correlation of what they really struggled with on the STAR test, or the previous year STAR test, I believe go down this little bit. This is one thing that we really considered right here, was each question, which is broken down by TEAGS, and how we grew from that. So those that we performed relatively lower on at Christmas, so you wanna look at, let's say question number 19 right here, whatever that TEAG was, at the breakdown, how we closed that gap on the ones that we struggled with and brought them up. So that is a correlation or corresponding where we're trying to change those numbers again. It's hard to compare these whenever you have 21 kids that take it the first time and turn around at 15 the second when you're missing those kids. Go ahead and go down. The other one we did is the bio and DOC. As you can see, like this too, the passing standard was set to 60%. Whenever that's probably more of your meets type area too, so that's, well, those numbers are a little bit, the 4 that we had that did not meet, going on there, but overall, again, with that science, the scores were unbelievable, and the same thing with this, there was.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes on between March and where we are today. Yeah.
But again, some of those were relatively close, and I would say probably at least 2, maybe 3 of them would have been in that approach phase too. But again, this gets her that where she can look at where these questions, what the question was, what they struggled on. But what I see here is these dark green ones are showing that we've mastered those concepts, and the lighter green, yellow into red are ones that she's attacking right now, moving on spring from March, into March, through when we take the test here pretty quick. Again, like social studies, they did theirs a little bit different, but again, there was 13 kids missing for that one too, so it was hard to put that down. I mean, I think it was fair to show that compared to the class time that they have in doing on that. But again, I think a lot of the map scores showed us a lot of where we were lacking and what we need to build on as well.
That's a really good tool that y'all can come up with, that you can use, and then you can know exactly how to help some of those kids, and then that you actually do it.
It's a a fine line of over testing them and not.
Yeah.
But I'm really proud of the teachers, and I know we're gonna do great whenever we get there, to take the test. English 1 and 2 are taking it tomorrow, and I really have been impressed with English, the way our scores have, the testing that we've done showed that we're really growing there.
Go ahead and get your report. Other one?
Alright, so just kind of going on, again, this is before the district track meet. Our girls won the Jayton Invitational. They did a fantastic job there. Moving on now, the district, the same thing. Did a great job competing. Both groups really did. We got an area track meet coming up on Friday. We have nearly somebody in every event, going in boys and girls with that. But the girls were district champions. The boys were runner-up. It was something that we knew was probably going to happen, but our boys did a really good job of competing and closing that gap. But we do have a lot of people going on in our area there. Golf, the regular season ended up last week. Moving on. All right, so the boys finished 3rd overall, and the girls finished 4th overall, which is really good. In my opinion, we played a really, really hard course. If y'all have ever played quicksand in San Angelo,
I heard about it.
it was not what we're used to, but it was good because that's where regionals is going to be. We did have one boy make it to regionals. We'll be leaving tomorrow. We'll be playing Wednesday and Thursday there in San Angelo for that. And then Jaylee Johnson, she was 3 strokes off of making it as an individual. So what they do is they take the top 2 teams from the district and the top 2 medalists that aren't on the teams. Jaylee was that 3rd individual for the girls, and Callan Moody was that 1st individual for the boys. Baseball and softball both in district right now. The boys are actually playing in Abilene Night against Abilene Christian Schools. They won that first game 16-1, I believe, and they're in the middle of the second one right now. Softball will have complete their district competition tomorrow against Termely. It's also senior night. We're in the works of setting up 5 district games right now with Ira or Westbrook, whichever one. They haven't even played a district game yet, so we'll know by the end of this week how that's going to shape up. Who we're going to catch there. Baseball looks like they're going to get Ira, which is going to be another tough by-district game. And the girls, like I said, it's going to come down to Thursday's game against Ira and Westbrook, where we're going to look for that. Still continuing the strength and conditioning. We're hitting that really hard with all the groups. Every sport benefits from it. And we're still continuing to monitor grades and make sure kids are taking care of what they need to in the classroom or get them the help they need. Any questions?
Thank you. Alright, business finance report?
Kimmy's at a baseball game. I'm gonna read her report while you're looking through the report. Before I do, I talked to 1 or 2 of you, but I want you to know that this past storm, not the one last night, but the one, was it last week? We have considerable damage from it. So we've got an insurance claim in, lightning hit several spots on campus. We have 2 air conditioner blowers that it took out. We have 1, 2, 3 classroom panels of electrical panels that it's taken out. Took out both vent hoods out in the kitchen, and it took out the lights in the shop. So unfortunately, we've got a $10,000 deductible. I can tell you we're already at about $9,000 worth of damage, so we'll continue to assess and look. We've already got an insurance claim in. The insurance guy, when he looked at that, said that storm, when it blew through, the 3 highest voltage strikes hit right on campus, so yeah, we're lucky. Anyways, that's a challenge. So reporting for the month of February, We'll be presenting a budget amendment in May with a few expenditures that have already been board approved. And for facility repairs we've had this year, we'll also include this stuff we're having to spend on insurance, or repair the damage. As reported last month, only functions 13 and 52 are over budget. Function 13 was to support 2 teachers to attend the TCEA conference. We're gonna look to try to increase those budgets. We really do wanna encourage our teachers to look into professional development throughout the year so they can continue to improve their craft. We're looking at moving the budget across functions. First, to cover the cost of function 52, we'll be correcting a few of the expenditures to come out of safety and security grant versus using the funds out of our general budget. We're looking to do a budget amendment in our general budget for function 51, which is facility maintenance and a lot of repairs. One of the things that's hit us real hard this year is those cafeteria refrigerators. We spent about $3,000 in repairs. They're old. They're 90s. We probably spent about $3,000 worth of repairs last year, and we've already more than doubled that in repairs this year. So again, hopefully it can hold out, and we budget a little more money to keep them going until we get into some of the projects and not have to spend any money any more than we have to. A lot of repairs and contract service this year, such as football scoreboard. Thankfully, we won't have to do that anymore. Roof repairs, AC and heat repairs that were more than anticipated. Also, we're currently working with TASB on the insurance claim to repair AC units, kitchen equipment, and classroom electrical panels from the past storm. Looking at a $10,000 deductible. Cafeteria budget, 240, presenting a budget amendment as well. We have recently had a lot more issues, as I just said, with the freezers and walk-in refrigerator that require repairing. To help in the future, I spoke with Region 14 about any equipment grants we can apply for. We've not come up with any yet, but we are looking. We have 3 freezers and a walk-in refrigerator. Two of those are possibly from the 80s. Last year, we didn't receive nearly as many repairs as based on our budget. It is what it is. Some of that stuff is just getting old. I really think, like I said, we're gonna be doing budget amendments, but you have to remember, we budgeted on an enrollment of 295, 294, and we've really maintained an enrollment of about 310. And our ADA, our attendance is about the same as it was last year. So we're gonna see some extra money there that I think will cover these amendments where we don't go over our budget. We're not at the end of the year yet, but I think we're gonna be okay. So.
Any questions on business's finance report, cash position, or check registers? No? CTE report?
All right. Okay, again, you have this in your report. I won't read all of it. The juniors and seniors enjoyed a DICE Air Force Base tour, visited booths, learned about different careers, and some even expressed interest in joining. TSTC is coming to visit with juniors and seniors to teach them about each of their programs. Got several things there in ag, culinary, business management, health science, graphic design going on there. We also had TCJ come out and visit with our seniors today about job opportunities with them.
Any questions on CTE? All right, superintendent report.
All right, when this was put together, our rolling was 309, it's at 310 now. Our attendance for the year so far is 95.92%. We have signed the contract for the LED light grant that we received, the 200,000 LED light. We've had our kickoff call. We have to send in some information to the Historical Society and get that approved. Once that's approved, we'll start working with the contractor at Fort Worth to start replacing all of the lights in the whole district, not sports facilities, but all other lights in the district that are not on LED over to LED lighting. And so, again, that's a $200,000 grant we were blessed to get. Not only will that, I think it'll save us a lot in utilities as we move forward. Also talked to some of these guys as we do construction. We certainly don't want to waste that. We need to be able to use that no matter what we decide to do as far as facilities. So we'll make a plan to do that. we will get it, we will be done, his timeline, we should be done with the installation by September. Depending on when we get started, but it will be done by September, yes, sir. Excited that, First Financial has purchased us a new football scoreboard. I think I shared what it would look like with each of you. If I didn't, holler at me and I'd be glad to. It is supposed to be in May 11th, and we have a construction company that has volunteered to move it to the west side of the football field, for free. And what that'll help us do, if you went out there and watched the JV or junior high game last year, you couldn't see the scoreboard anyways. So, again, it'll be over the north side, and we're excited about it. We spent a lot of money this year on repairing that thing, including me sitting through the Baird football game mortified because Friday night football game and the scoreboard won't work. So that will not happen again. We love the scoreboard. Thanks to First Financial for doing that for us. I'm not going to run through it all, but I want you to make sure you see the TIA overview, teacher incentive allotment overview. This is just for you to know what we presented to our teachers. We have turned our teacher incentive allotment packet in, our application in. We worked really with Misty Shoemaker, worked really hard on this, and their committee. Teachers made some really good and sometimes difficult decisions about what we wanted to do in this program. And we're excited about it. We'll hear in June. Did we get accepted or not? I'll give you a chance to review that. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Double Mountain Rural Collaborative. This is something new that has come up. There are what they call RPEP funds that the legislature has approved. It was about $5 million, and now there's about $20 million. Make a long story short, Aspermont, Rattan, Jayton, ourselves, Hamlin, I'm gonna forget somebody. Anyways, are going to join into this rural collaborative where each of our students will be able to take CTE courses on any campus. So what it allows us to do is maybe Hamlin to offer some CTE courses. Like there's one of them in the group that offers HVAC. We don't do HVAC here, but our kids can take HVAC through the other campuses. We did not get in the original, but once I found out about it, I started asking questions, and they're going to accept the program, and then they already have the amendment in to include us afterwards. So we are believing and hopeful that we'll get in this year to that program. And again, what a great opportunity for our kiddos. It's going to be arranged. Now, some of them, like HVAC, they may have to travel a little more often. We'll arrange the travel for them. But most of the courses that they're going to take, Michelle, what was it? 2 times a month?
Yes, they're shooting for 2 times a month, but they would be in person. The rest of the time it'd be like a virtual or a Google Classroom, or even like welding. They said where they would, which we have welding here, but they gave an example of welding, that they would give, I guess, activities, specs, things that they would have to do, and they could take pictures and send them, or video and send them, and then they might have to bring them once or twice a month for that professor or that teacher to actually inspect them. So
Anyways, just a lot more opportunities for our kiddos. Again, we explored last year the medical stuff. Well, I think Hamlin or one of them has a full facilities over there where we could offer some of that type of stuff, and just more opportunities for our kids. And then secondarily, the state finances at 1.5 times what they fund you is just regular CTE now. So again, it's more funding also at the same time. Michelle?
What happened with the nursing program when they came and spoke to us about that?
We talked about it, there just wasn't enough interest. We had maybe 1 or 2 students, and then even those students, when we talked to them about fitting in their schedule, they didn't want to give up anything to have enough time. They wanted to do it, but they wanted to do the stuff they were doing too. And that's one of the things you battle, is they have to choose, because they already are going, especially in the spring, in a million different directions. So I think that was the challenge. And so because there wasn't enough interest and they weren't willing to schedule, but this will provide an opportunity where that will exist regardless of that. If one kid wanted to do it, or, it would provide that opportunity. We're real excited about it. So. That's all I've got.
Any questions on superintendent report? Alright, push on consent agenda items. A, the previous board minutes. B, monthly tax report. And C, monthly bills. Questions?
No, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, and C.
Motion on the floor with a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Consent agenda items A, B, and C, approved 6-0. Alright, on into regular agenda items. We'll go on and discuss and take action on employment, resignation, school personnel.
So, some that, and I've already told you about some of these, but, some that we've agreed to hire. Mr. Rainbow's gonna be our new girls coordinator, head basketball coach. Haley Martinez coming from our daycare will be our new administrative assistant to the superintendent business office helper. Doug Weatherly will do a new social studies teacher and coach. Lindsay Upshaw, a new kindergarten teacher. We're excited to, welcome Caleb Graves back to be a new high school math teacher and coach. Two things that are not on here that have happened since this was posted is two aides, Ms. De Los Santos and Priscilla, both resigned. Just, Ms. De Los Santos' husband's got some health issues, needs to be home more, and Priscilla resigned just again. At this stage of life, needing to be home more, but we'll sure miss those folks. They've done a great job for us.
I'll make a motion to approve item A as presented.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the, item A as discussed and presented. All in favor? 6-0. Alright, on into B. Discuss and take possible action regarding compliance with Senate Bill 546 reporting requirements.
All right. So, new Senate Bill 546 requiring that all buses have to be retrofitted or purchase their new buses that don't have 3-point seat belts. I want you to see, if you'll pull up what I've got up there, Brian, it's gonna be the first attachment on the bottom. No, on the bottom of the agenda item on the right. No, yeah, go all the way down. No, that may be it, I don't know, but I know you can get to it if you go on the right. No, yeah, right there, all the way down, that very first one. I want you to see where we currently stand. All of our route buses that go on routes every day are fully equipped and they are in compliance. You can see on the bottom there, some of our older buses that we may take for travel or athletic events or field trips are the ones that are the issue. The next one there, you can see what it costs to retrofit. You can see on the bottom number there. I mean, it's crazy. And the challenge with this, even if you do this, if you have any warranties, like Bluebird has sent a letter to TEA and to all districts that if you retrofit their buses, you will avoid the warranty. They won't do it, and they won't warranty your bus if you retrofit. Thomas and some of the others have not done that yet. Now, if you'll pull up the costs for if we replace those buses, and I'm required to show you, there's 3 buses there, the 48 passenger, 50, just pull them up one time, we'll look at the price. The price is on the bottom, I think, yeah. Yeah, it's a big number. All the stuff it includes, so there you are, on the bottom. I think, is it in bold at the very bottom, Brad? kinda go through it, so I can help.
Bargain price of $140.
Yep.
Marty.
Yeah. And then you've got, and I chose these numbers because these are the buses that would need to be replaced, and that's how many seats they have. You can see the 54, and then the 72. There's your number there. And then you've got the 72 passenger. And we were required by the bill to present both options to you, retrofitting and purchasing new buses. You'll see in the agenda item that we are not currently compliant because all of our buses are not 3-point. I provided you with two options to take action on, and my recommendation is option 1. You just can't afford that right now. I can tell you, we're not the only one who can't afford it.
None of those buses have warranty anyways.
I know those older ones do, no. But as things present themselves as we move along, we're gonna be looking to do some new things anyways.
Is that,
So I just don't think we can afford it right now, even at the 82,000.
they give any kind of, assistance?
Just do it.
Right now, they're just gathering information. Now, we don't know what they're
Say
going
you
to
have
do
financial
after,
constraints like this.
but right now, they're just gathering information.
That covers it.
And we have to take an agenda item that basically says either you as the board of trustees have to vote, we're gonna retrofit them so we are compliant. We're gonna purchase new buses so we are compliant, or that first option there that I gave you, at this time, we can't afford it, but we will continue to financially plan to try to get to a point that we can get into compliance, and that's my recommendation.
Pretty much as we replace them, her budget, we replace them with CDs
Right.
in time.
How long do we have to do
They're putting that, I have a report that's due by every school in the state has a report due by May to TEA and Sentinel. They're gonna gather all that information, and I suspect we'll hear more after that. I have talked to more than 20 other superintendents in different meetings. I've heard nobody that's going to be able to afford to do it right now. I'm not saying there won't be, but I haven't heard of anybody.
$30,000 a bus
It's crazy.
for 6.
I know. Get some nylon strap.
That's right.
Some duct tape, seat belts.
So again, my recommendation is option 1, and we'll continue to look and financially try to plan for that. We may look, see if there's another turf grant out there that we can get. If we got some of our older buses that may help us with some of that, but I recommend we can't afford that right now.
I'll make a motion to approve option 1.
All right, I have a motion by Dakota and a second by Brent for option 1, determine the current budget constraints do not allow for retrofitting existing buses or purchasing new buses equipped with 3-point seat belts at this time. District will continue to evaluate for future funding opportunities to move forward. All in favor, raise your hand. Passes 6-0. Alright, and then we'll go to discuss and take possible action to review the food service committee's scoring and recommendations and select vendor for district food service management services for 2026-2027.
All right, we had a food service committee, as you guys know, went out for bids for a food service management company to take over control of our food services in the 26-27 school year. You can see the committee, how they scored, the two different companies. The biggest difference between the two companies is SFE did come in, and what we asked for was that we would lose no more than $40,000 a year, is what they're put in theirs. The other company did not. If you think about that in comparison, we're budgeted to lose about $80,000 this year. We lost $100,000 the year before that. So again, my recommendation is that we approve SFE to be our food service company for the 26-27 school year, because we can take that 40,000 and put it back in our budget and do something for kids or teachers or whatever else we feel like we need to do with it. And that was the committee's recommendation.
What was it, SFE?
SFE, yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the SFE option as presented.
Alright.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Dakota and a second by Carter to approve the SFE, Roby CISD food service, as the option for, as presented. All in favor? Passes 6-0. Alright. I gotta say this. So the board will now move into executive session under the following sections. Real property deliberations, Texas Code 55.1.072, personnel matters, Code 55.1.074, emergency management, Code 418.183, and economic development negotiations, 55.1.087. Time is now 7:06.